So welcome everyone. We are here talking with Tamika and Rod of Kai's Baking Studio. We're going to chat. The structure of today is I'm going to talk for about 5 minutes for folks who maybe aren't familiar with SMBX. I'll give you a quick walkthrough of kind of how we came up with SMBX and how it works. And then we'll hand over to Tamika and Rod, and they'll talk a little bit about the business so far, kind of Kai's. For those of you who maybe are familiar with SMBX but not familiar with Kai's, they'll kind of give you a rundown of their business today and kind of what their raise is and what they're going for. And then we'll take it from there and open it up to you all for any questions that you have either about SMBX or about Kai's Baking Studio. And then close it up with some final comments. So let me kick us off here. I'm going to share my screen really quick and just give you guys a quick intro into SMBX, how it works, and talk a little bit about Kai's raise so that you guys kind of know the lay of the land of where everything is. So we started SMBX because we saw this trend happening in finance. We saw people wanting power over their money. They wanted to pick where they were investing it, but we didn't think that there were good options for them to invest locally. And so what we decided was, or what we kind of noticed was with apps like Robinhood and Square Cash and Venmo, they're all allowing you to buy stocks. And now you can even buy a fractional stock, right? So you don't even need to be able to buy an entire stock of Starbucks. You can just buy, 0.5% or $10 worth of it. People are making more of their own investment decisions, right? I like to make the joke that I know what a stock of Starbucks is, but I don't know what size a venti is or how to make a mocha. And I think that's true of a lot of investors who are out there today. And so what we wanted to do was open up and make it as easy to invest in businesses like Kai's Baking Studio as it is for you to invest in Starbucks, right? It is easy to download an app and buy a share of Starbucks. It should be that easy to invest locally as well. But we knew that there were problems in the asset choice or the way that people are investing in small businesses today. There was really only one option, and that was investing on the equity side. And because of that, there were some problems with that investment experience. If you invest on the equity side, you have to wait a long time, 5 to 7 years. You don't know how much you're going to get after waiting that long. Oftentimes the business has to be sold in order to provide an exit for investors and for the business owners themselves. And then most importantly, nobody really wants to give away a portion of their business just to access capital. And so we thought, is there a better way to do this? Is there a better way to invest locally? And in short, the answer was yes. There's actually a large amount of investment that goes into small businesses every month, every week, every day. And that is often in the form of debt. And so the way that our banking system works today is people keep their money in the bank in the form of a checking and savings account. The bank takes that money. They have to keep 30% of it in their deposit, right, in cash, which is called the Federal Reserve. The rest of that money they're allowed to lend out, and they lend that out to small businesses. Small businesses then pay that back with interest. Sometimes that's 8% interest. Sometimes that's 11. Sometimes it's a little less, a little more. And then the bank keeps the money. And so we said, well, what if we could build a system very similar to this where the people could earn interest instead of giving away a portion of their business to the bank or giving a portion of their business away to small business investors. And that's where we came up with the idea of the small business bond. And this is exactly how it works. The community invests directly in the small business by purchasing what we call small business bonds. And then that small business pays back the bond with interest. And so instead of the bank earning the interest, the people would earn the interest from those same payments. And so the way that this opportunity works with Kai's Baking Studio is if you were to invest and purchase bonds, maybe that's $10, maybe that's $1,000. We've had people even buy $100,000 worth of bonds into a small business. You would get a monthly payment back from Kai's Baking Studio for your principal plus interest. For every month up until the end of the bond. And now we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. So we have both a website and an app. You can go to www.thesmbx.com, or if you have an iOS phone, you can download the iOS app. Just search SMBX. It's a big yellow, or it's a yellow icon with a black X in the middle. And you'll come to Kai's Baking Studio, their page, and you'll see something here. You can see the minimum raise, which is $25,000, the maximum raise, which is $100,000. And then we have that bond duration, which is over the course of 60 months, which means that you would receive 60 payments back from Kai's Baking Studio. And then you have there the yield, which is 8%. That's the interest rate on these. And then we've got some other info there. You've got unit par value and your total unit value, which is for each bond that you buy for $10, you would get about $12.17 back. If you scroll down on this page, you'll find a whole bunch more information. What I like to highlight on this page is at the bottom, you'll find the use of funds. So you can see exactly what Kai's Baking Studio is planning to, excuse me, losing my voice a little bit there, exactly what they're planning to use their capital towards. Part of this, excuse me, we'll talk a little bit more in depth as I turn over, the speaking portion of this to our lovely leaders of Kai's Baking Studio, although we might make the argument that the CEO of the house is in school right now. But the other two documents there at the bottom are the bond prospectus summary, and the issuer financial information. The bond prospectus holds this large 34-page document that outlines the terms that Kai's Baking Studio has with their investors or potential investors, folks like yourself. The bond prospectus summary is a summary of that information. And then if you want to really dig in, you can access Kai's profit and loss balance sheet and statement of cash flows by clicking that issuer financial information there. The most important button on this page, which you'll see on both these, is the buy bonds button. And if you press that, you'll be brought to a calculator here. I put in $1,000 just as an example. But if you enter in $1,000, what it'll do is it'll calculate your investment for you. And so $1,000 at 8% interest, you would get a total return back of $1,216.58, which would be $1,000 of principal that you put in originally, plus $216 of interest. And that's over the course of those 60 months that I told you before. So if you divide that by 60 months, that's how you get that monthly payment of $20.28. If you press that place order button, if you press that at the bottom, that would place your order. We would debit your bank account or your credit card that you have linked, $1,000, right? And then when the investment offering closes, which I believe is in about 2 weeks or so, what we do is we would transfer that money to Kai's Baking Studio, and then we would transfer you your bond certificates, and then next month your first monthly payment would start, and you would receive those monthly payments of $20.28 for the next 60 months. Two other quick things just to show folks here. The first is the portfolio page. So here we show you a whole bunch of information about your investments. This is a sample of a real life person, so you can see at the very bottom, there's the Dilla buy order. That means they invested $300 in Quesadilla Gorilla. And then you can see that they've received, here, this is in November of 2020, they have received 6 of their 36 payments from California Draft Tech, 5 of their 60 from Livy and Luca, 5 of 60. They made 2 investments in Livy and Luca there. There's a Black Hammer Brewing bond payment. So this is just to show that, yes, we really do pay you out monthly, and you can track exactly where you are along the lines of your 60 payments that you're going to receive. And then here in the earnings section, if you click that, you can see your total amount that you've put into SMBX and the breakdown of all of your capital. So here, principal returned, this person in particular has received $141 back of their initial principal they put in. They've earned about $84 worth of interest, and their total earnings come out to $225.56. So they have taken out $132, excuse me, and they have available to withdraw, which means there's kind of $20 or so, $19 sitting in their SMBX account. And as long as you have more than $10 in your account, you can always withdraw that into your own personal bank account, or you can choose to reinvest it in other businesses. So with that, I know that's a lot of information. If you're listening on your phone, you might not have been able to see those slides, but hopefully you could follow along there close enough. I'm going to turn it over to the people of the hour, Kai's Baking Studio. Let them chat a little bit about, maybe you guys can kick us off just saying a little bit about your business, where you guys are at, talk to us a little bit about how this year has been going so far, and then we'll take it from there.
And this year has been just like we're advancing, we're moving forward. we're looking at new opportunities. We're looking at moving from continuing retail, but moving into wholesale operations where we can actually advance and put our products in more places than we can as an individual company. So that's our biggest focus. We really had an increase in sales with our cheesecakes, our cakes, and we're also looking to move more into our mixes. Our mixes are our next big line of products that we have going out. And a lot of people are interested in a lot of our customers that we've given samples of them rave about those products and how easy they are and how simple they are. Also the taste, that they're getting what they expect from us. Something delicious that they can eat now sometimes, and then something delicious they can bake later. So it just gives them options, especially for people that live abroad. Some people come, 30, 40, 50 miles to our location, pick up something, or we ship them something. So that's kind of what we're working on with that. And we're looking to just make a shift, a pivot. The biggest thing we've looked at since our COVID-19 was the availability of people to come to where we are, and we're trying to get things to more places, and just making a pivot that makes more sense for us as a business. It's allowed us to be more profitable and also more direct in how we do business. Sometimes consumers can be a little finicky, and but I mean, but they're always going to go to a grocery store. They're always going to go to the places where we're trying to place those. So instead of coming to us, we can actually go to where they're going to be, which I think makes a big difference in how we offer our products.
Awesome.
I think one of the bigger things is, as we make the pivot from retail to wholesale, is a lot of people have lifestyle and comorbidities that could benefit from a keto diet. So they can, your options are limited when you go to some of the restaurants. So having our mixes and having our cakes and having our, cheesecakes or cookies in more restaurants, bakeries, schools, and hospitals just allow more people to stay true to the lifestyle and have more options when they go out in public.
That's awesome. Can you guys talk a little bit more about that transition in this wholesale idea? Is part of the idea like you get one customer like a hospital, and then you just have this steady flow of things kind of going out to them, as opposed to kind of having to find your typical folks coming into the bakery? Talk to us a little bit about kind of how you came to that, and kind of,
So the plan is to get a manufacturer. No, you're fine. The plan is to manufacture the products on a bigger scale and get with food distributors so that they can, such as, for example, I'll use Costco or some of the local food distributors or smaller ones, so that they can distribute it to more people, because we feel like they can distribute more people logistically than we can.
Yeah.
So the goal is to get with the food distributors and have them to distribute.
Cool. That's awesome. And you guys have those relationships set up already? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So we're in the process of forming some like building relationships and forming them. We have reached out to a couple of companies. We have gotten feedback, which is exciting. And
the next thing we're waiting for is we have studies that actually are due out this month that show that we have the shelf life that's necessary for those products. And that's the next big step with those. I mean, we've been having initial talks, but once that comes onto the table, now we can actually start to move forward, because that's a requirement that they need in order to move forward, that this has shelf life viability. And we're in the last month of the 6th month, which is the standard. And we're going, much further than that, but that's what allows us to place those on those shelves. So now the big conversations actually start really as this campaign is starting to dwindle down. We're moving towards that next step.
Cool. That sounds awesome. Talk to me a little bit about the two people who aren't here, and maybe you guys, for those who maybe have joining from the SMBX side, they haven't had a chance to kind of learn about your guys' business. Talk to us a little bit about how did this thing start, and what are their roles, and just, the other missing half of the team today.
So our missing half is our 11-year-old daughter, Kai, and our 8-year-old son, Mason. So Kai was, when she was 6, she would watch all the kids on YouTube, and she wanted to just start her own business. And Rod, being the cook of the family, would bake these cookies, and we would take them to church for like fundraisers and bake sales. And then we had this older gentleman, and he was just like, if you guys sold these cookies, I would be your #1 customer. And I would just buy all your cookies. And she's like, well, Mom, can we sell them? And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. And at the time, I thought it was so far-fetched because me, being a military nurse practitioner, it's like we're always on the go. It's just constant, and not to add the family with it. So my vision was thinking like, no, there's no way we could do this. And I remember I had just purchased tickets for a cruise that day, and we went to Target, and she's like, Mom, can I have this? Can I have this? And I looked at her and I was like, you need a job. And she's like, I'm trying to sell my daddy's cookies, but you won't let me. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I called a friend. We were in Dallas at the time. So I called a friend like, hey, can Kai come sell cookies this week? And because I really thought she was not going to be built for tough. I just thought when she saw how hard it was,
Yeah.
she was going to be like, oh, we're done. And here we are. So she went to the place, she sold the cookies, and here we are coming up on 5 years later. And she still goes strong. There'll be times she's selling and she'll be like, she asked the one guy, she says, we had a line and I came up and helped one guy, and she says, did she answer all your questions? I was like, did who answer your questions? Like, I'm your mom. You don't ask him, did I answer? Like, was she able to help you? Like, as if I couldn't. So and I say that to say she's very knowledgeable about the product. She's a great salesperson. She has really great customer service skills. Now, on the flip side of that, because she makes her own money, she thinks she can just pay for things and purchase things and don't have to ask. And so we have to will it back in, like, wait a minute, you're still 11.
Yeah.
And Mason, I think it's been great for Mason because Mason is a trooper, because some days we have long days and we have to always balance. Before we got the bakery and we were doing like farmers markets and events and festivals, we would always have to balance like the length of the time. And Mason would be right there. When we get in the kitchen, he'll tell you his number one job is he's quality control. He has to taste everything to make sure that it's good. And he labels, he closes, and he will come from after, like if we go after school, go to the bakery, he goes right over, start putting up the dishes. And Mason's kind of short in stature for an 8-year-old. So he like grabs the stool and he doesn't let it stop him. He figures out a way, to be involved and to see what he can help do. And so he has really come into his own, and we're just like really proud of him.
He actually runs the cash register now. So
he does
there run a cash register now. I want to get him to the point where he talks a little bit to people, because he's kind of nonchalant. He's just like, oh yeah, your total's, $68 or whatever. It's like he doesn't talk to them. He just rings up the order. He said, oh, I have everything. And he'll read it off, but we're working on that little between that. But he's really coming to his own. He'll run a register and sit up front by himself. Oh, we have customers in here. Welcome to Kai's Baking Studio. And just watching him make that transition that his sister made. Just that transition from the business to more of a family involved business, which it's always been, but it's truly now each person has a role that we fulfill and we all do it together.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I'm going to open it up now to questions. So if you guys have questions, please throw those into either the chat or the Q&A. If you have questions about how SMBX works, if you have questions specific for Kai's Baking Studio, throw those in there while we wait for some of you to type. Or if you want to raise your hand as well, we can have you kind of, if you're calling in and listening to us without a computer, we can pull you in and you can ask your question verbally. Give folks a couple minutes to see if stuff comes through, and then we'll go from there. While we wait, though, I guess my question to you all is, can you talk to us a little bit about what's your best seller maybe in store, and then what's your best seller that you guys are currently shipping out?
Our best seller in store is usually our cakes and cheesecakes. I mean, we make so many cakes and cheesecakes, it's gotten to the point where it's overwhelming at times. I mean, there's sometimes we have an enormous amount of cakes in queue. Plus we have, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub orders coming in, and our cakes and cheesecakes just simply fly off the shelves. And on Mother's Day, it was borderline embarrassing that we went through an enormous amount of cakes and there was nothing left, and we still had 2 hours to go. And I had people coming in. I felt terrible. I said, hey, we're getting wiped out. People are coming in buying 10, 12 slices of cake at a time. And it's kind of overwhelming. And as we ship, one of the things that we ship a lot of cookies, we ship a lot of cheesecake brownie bites. And another thing we ship a lot of is our savory options, like our bagels. Our
Mhm.
bagels have become somewhat legendary. We have people that get our jalapeno cheddar, our Asiago, our everything. And we have people that order those every month. We might even need to do a subscription box for bagels because I have some customers that order, 5 to 6 dozen of bagels and they put them in the freezer and they eat them throughout the month. And then the next month, like clockwork, is right there again. And it's a testament to our consistency and the fact that they're enjoying what we're getting and
Yeah.
it's actually helping them stay true to their lifestyle because a lot of times the gluten-free options or keto options don't really have that wow factor to make you keep coming back. You say, well, I'm just going to suffer and just eat what I want to eat. But a lot of people actually continue to go down the path that their doctor has subscribed or the lifestyle that they have prescribed to for their own reasons. Now they can stay there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're seeing a lot of.
Cool. Here's a question that came in from the audience. You guys mentioned that you're dairy-free, egg-free, and gluten-free. Are you guys vegan as well? Are some things vegan, some things aren't? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Some things are, our daughter is dairy free and egg free, and she's borderline gluten free. So when we do have a vegan line of products that we make brownies, we make cookies, we make cakes, and we make those exclusively. We make them online, and we do a lot of those in store. But the reason why we got into that is because our daughter had those allergies, and it was awful to see her feel like her life had crumbled at 9 years old, saying I can't have these things that I like. And when we made products that she couldn't taste the difference between the gluten-free, egg-free, dairy-free product. It was a happy feeling for us. And when she finds another kid that has that, she says, no, 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 you don't have to suffer. You don't have to, this isn't going to destroy your life. Try this. And they'll try it, and one of the kids will smile. And it's a big deal to us because we have someone in our house with those allergies.
Cool. Another question coming in here. Are you going to continue running the retail side during your transition to wholesale, or is this like a full switch over?
So we will continue the transition until our but we are always going to have some retail pickup,
Okay.
and then we will still ship retail. To answer your question,
Our e-commerce will continue.
like the e-commerce will continue.
Cool. So retail will continue while the lease is still in existence, and then you guys are kind of moving into this new kitchen, if you will.
Mhm.
That'll be more facilitate the wholesale side of the business and e-commerce and some of those other the distributor relations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and rely a little bit less on that kind of in-person traffic coming through.
Correct.
Cool. That was from Eric. Thank you, Eric, for the question. Great question. Another one here. Can you guys, this one says, I can read your guys' use of funds, but can you talk to us a little bit more about that more broadly?
The use of funds, we have different things that we need to accomplish. We have different equipment and packaging and branding that we need to get together. As far as the size of baggage, the shelf life studies, there's an enormous amount of things that it takes to move into the manufacturing arena. There's a lot of certifications. There's a lot of things that actually take place that actually going to go there. We actually have more marketing dollars because, of course, if we're going to make more money, we have to get it out in front of more people. We've actually started some of that now. And everything that we have laid out, we're planning on using that and pointing that towards the next direction, because ultimately where I think we've had an issue is just a lack of funds, because we're taking from everything that we do and putting it back into there. So we're kind of limited to what we can do just due to availability of capital. So it'll allow us to exponentially push forward, and where right now we're doing it just at a slower pace.
Gotcha. Awesome. Other questions from the crowd? We're coming up on a half hour here. So we've got about 5 to 10 minutes left, but want to open it up for anybody else who's got a question here. Here comes one in. Got it. Okay, so let me read this one out. What initially drew me to your offering was the term keto, but I realized that I may not know exactly what keto means compared to Whole30 or paleo. Can you guys clarify what keto means in respect with your guys' business?
The keto is basically it's a low carb, gluten free lifestyle that people choose. We don't use any sugar products. We use almond and coconut flours, In some of our products, we do a lupin flour, which is similar, but we use nut-based flours to reduce the amount of carbs that you have. And we use a monk fruit erythritol sweetener that actually allows your body to have something sweet without an impact on your body. So some people do it for dietary reasons. Um, uh, they can have a lot of different issues. They can have diabetes. They can have seizures. They can have. There's so many things that are impacted by our bodies having way too much sugar. And keto is actually a lifestyle choice that eliminates those things, puts you back into a natural state to where your body actually uses fat for a fuel source instead of just the sugar that we consume. As a nation, we overconsume sugar. So by reducing that and reducing the flours that we use, it allows that to happen. But it's very similar to paleo, with the exception of a few things. And the Whole 30 is a little bit stricter than the actual keto is, but they're all cousins.
I think one of the things with paleo is one of the differences between paleo and keto is keto we can use dairy, and I think paleo does a lot of the like the coconut oils, avocado oils, and for keto it contains dairy.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, that's one of the things I think our friends who are keto come over. Whenever they come over, they bring a meat and cheese plate.
Yeah.
They can eat. But we sent them to you guys, and I think they placed an order. So only good things to say there. Other questions that you guys may have here. If you're joining us, feel free. If you're on the phone, feel free to raise your hand. Press that button. I can invite you up to chat with us quickly.
I do want to add one thing, if that's okay, while we're waiting on someone to type questions. I think one of the things is we talked about our mixes, but we hadn't talked about our bagels. And we're looking at adding bagels into like breakfast cafes. Like we think that that would be a great option, such as Snooze, Egg and I, First Watch, where they have those things. And, you know, most of the things they give you bread, and that's not something you can eat. And so we're just like Panera has bagels, but they don't have a low carb option. So some of the things that we're looking at partnering with some people to offer our low carb bagels as an option to their customers. That's as another stream.
Yeah. That's really smart. And I like the idea of cafes probably are not going to want to produce them themselves. They don't have the recipe. Otherwise, they'd probably already be doing it. So why not just offer it to them? And it sounds like they sit in the freezer pretty well if folks are ordering 5 dozen at a time. Cool. Other questions, throw them in. I haven't seen anything yet. Else, we just as a reminder, if you invest, you'll get paid monthly. You might have questions about SMBX or how that works. I'm happy to answer those if some of you are on the call and kind of unfamiliar with our side of the business. Otherwise, if you've still got questions for Tanika and Rod, let us know. Otherwise, we won't hold everyone here on Monday because I know it's a busy week for everyone, as all Mondays are. And we'll kind of let folks go a little early here. Give everybody maybe another minute to spit out your questions if you got them. Going once, going twice.
I think you have somebody.
Did someone raise their hand?
Oh no, I accidentally pressed the wrong button.
Sorry. You have another question.
You're like, ah! Going 3 times. If you got questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll let everybody get on their way. Doesn't look like it. Okie dokie.
Thank you so much.
Right, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right, bye. Thanks, everyone. Oh, wait. One last one.
Okay.
Ooh, coming in hot at the last minute. I like it, Margaret. On the initial investment, is there a minimum deposit needed to open your account, and is it a simple process? Yeah, so the way that it works, this is probably a question more for me, I'll answer it. So the way it works is if you download the app or you go to our website, there's a button there that says sign in to buy bonds. If you press that, it will take you through a set of questions that we need to answer in order to have you become an investor. That's things like first name, last name, date of birth, making sure you are who you say you are, so nobody's investing on behalf of you. The minimum that then when you get through that registration flow, what happens is it'll ask you to link a bank account or a credit card. If you link a bank account, you can invest at $0 fee, so it doesn't cost anything to invest. If you link a credit card, there's a 4% charge, and that's because SMBX gets charged to process your credit card. Once you link that bank account, what we'll do is it's just like, think of it just like if you were going to buy a bagel. So you choose to purchase a bond. And when you purchase that bond, we will pull that money out of your account. So you don't have to move any money into SMBX. We'll just take that money out of your account. And then when you get paid back, that money goes and sits in your SMBX account, and you can withdraw that into your bank account whenever you want. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to our support team. We're very, very responsive. I have hopped on the phone with many an investor just to walk them through individually. So I'll leave my personal email in here as well in the chat in case you guys have any questions, or if you run into any trouble, just shoot us a message and we'll be more than happy to help you. Another question here is not a question, but a comment for SMBX. I appreciate that you've removed the gatekeeper of the banker and allow the recipient to talk directly to the investor. We're very happy for that as well. Thank you for your comment. It's what we believe in: direct access to the things and the power to be able to make investment choices of where your money goes. You can put that locally into Kai's. You can put it into causes and things you believe in, and we want to stop the bank from making those decisions themselves. Any other questions here for folks? Margaret, if I answered your question well, let me know. If you have a follow-up, don't be shy. Always happy to answer there. We'll give it an extra 30 seconds this time for real, because we've almost logged off. Oh, here we go, coming through. Nope, looks like we're all good. Thank you. Anything else? Now, oh, here it comes, here it comes. Oh no, I got that one. I answered that one already. If that's it, then this time we'll say thank you for real. I'm gonna watch just to make sure nothing else pops up at the last minute. I will, if you want to, I'm just gonna throw in the link to the web or to the landing page for Kai's right now. So if you guys wanna go buy your bonds, you can do so. Looks like you guys have gone up a little bit since this webinar has started, which is always a great sign. So if you head there, it's really easy. Just hit that sign in to buy bonds, complete the sign up flow, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you. Talk soon.
Y'all have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah.